Welcome. Today we delve into the life of one of the most influential figures of the 20th century, Josip Vissarionis Djugashvili, better known as Joseph Stalin. Born in the late 19th century, this man's life and actions would come to shape much of the world as we know it. His name, synonymous with power and authority, echoes through the corridors of history even today. And yet, before he was Stalin, he was just Ioseb, a young boy from Gori, a small town in what is now modern-day Georgia. His journey to becoming the leader of the Soviet Union is a story of resilience, cunning, and unyielding ambition. Stalin's rise to power was not without its challenges and rivalries, but his ability to navigate through these obstacles is what set him apart. Now let's peel back the layers of history and venture into Stalin's early life. Born in 1878 in Georgia, then part of the Russian Empire, Stalin's early life was marked by struggle and hardship. His birth name, Josip Vissarionis Djugashvili. He was raised in a poor family, faced with the harsh realities of poverty from a young age. His father was a shoemaker and his mother a housemaid. Despite the adversity, young Stalin proved to be an exceptional student, attending a seminary in Tbilisi with aspirations of becoming a priest. However, the winds of change were blowing across the Russian Empire. Stalin was drawn to the revolutionary fervor sweeping through Georgia. He abandoned his religious studies and dedicated himself to the revolutionary cause, joining the Bolshevik Party, a faction of the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party led by Vladimir Lenin. It was around this time that he adopted the name Stalin, meaning man of steel, a fitting moniker for his steely resolve. Stalin's revolutionary activities were not without conflict. He often butted heads with other revolutionaries, including members of his own party. His methods were ruthless and unscrupulous, traits that would become hallmarks of his later leadership. He organized strikes, bank heists, and acted as a propagandist for the Bolshevik cause, all while evading capture by the Tsar's secret police. His dedication to the cause did not go unnoticed. Lenin, the leader of the Bolsheviks, recognized Stalin's potential and took him under his wing. Under Lenin's tutelage, Stalin's influence within the party grew. He became an essential figure in the Bolshevik Revolution, helping to orchestrate the overthrow of the provisional government in 1917. Stalin's early life and revolutionary activities reveal much about the man he would become. His harsh upbringing instilled in him a relentless determination and a ruthless streak. His experiences as a revolutionary honed his political savvy and his aptitude for intrigue and manipulation. These qualities would serve him well in his rise to power, setting the stage for his eventual leadership of the Soviet Union. Stalin's revolutionary activities set the stage for his rise to power in the newly formed Soviet Union. In the tumultuous years following the Russian Revolution of 1917, Stalin began his ascent within the Bolshevik Party. While the revolution brought down the Tsarist autocracy and replaced it with a provisional government, it also paved the way for the rise of new leaders within the Bolshevik Party. Among them, a man named Joseph Stalin, born Josip Vissarionis Djugashvili, began to make his mark. Stalin was no stranger to the inner workings of the party. He'd been involved in revolutionary activities for years, and his tenacious nature and strategic mind helped him climb the ranks. But the path to power wasn't straightforward. It was filled with political maneuvering, alliances, and rivalries. One of his main rivals was Leon Trotsky, a fellow revolutionary and an influential figure within the Bolshevik Party. Trotsky and Stalin had distinct visions for the future of the Soviet Union, and these ideological differences fueled a power struggle that would shape the course of history. While Trotsky advocated for a permanent revolution that would spread socialism worldwide, Stalin proposed the idea of socialism in one country. This was a pragmatic and nationally focused approach that appealed to many within the party. It marked a significant shift in the party's direction, and it was this shift that would eventually tip the balance of power in Stalin's favor. By the early 20s, Stalin had secured key positions within the party and government. In 1922, he was appointed as the General Secretary of the Communist Party. It was a role that seemed unimportant at first, but it proved to be a strategic masterstroke. It allowed Stalin to control party appointments, build a loyal base, and consolidate his power. This consolidation of power didn't happen overnight. It was a result of careful planning, ruthless pragmatism, and an unshakable will to power. Stalin's tactics often involved purges, expulsions, and even executions of those who opposed him or were perceived as threats. Stalin's rise to power was marked by political maneuvering and ruthless pragmatism. His ascent was a pivotal moment in the history of the Soviet Union, setting the stage for a reign that would leave an indelible mark on the 20th century. Once in power, Stalin implemented policies that would dramatically reshape the Soviet Union and its place in the world. A central pillar of his rule was his interpretation of Marxism-Leninism, an ideology that sought to apply the theories of Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin to the unique conditions of the Soviet Union. Stalin was a proponent of what he termed socialism in one country, a departure from the traditional Marxist view of worldwide proletarian revolution. Instead, he believed in building a strong socialist state in the Soviet Union first. Stalin's vision for the Soviet Union was one of industrial might and agricultural efficiency. To achieve this, he introduced a series of ambitious economic programs known as the 5-year plans. These plans aimed at rapid industrialization and the modernization of the Soviet economy. Steel production, coal mining, and manufacturing were all ramped up, transforming the largely rural and agrarian country into a major world industrial power. Parallel to these industrialization efforts, Stalin also implemented drastic changes in Soviet agriculture. He introduced a policy of collectivization which involved combining the country's small, privately owned farms into large, state-controlled collective farms. The goal was to increase agricultural output and feed the rapidly growing industrial workforce. However, the policy met with considerable resistance from the peasantry, leading to widespread famine and suffering, particularly in Ukraine, in an event known as the Holodomor. Stalin's rule was also marked by an intense period of political repression, most notably the Great Purge. This was a campaign of political repression and persecution that took place in the late 1930s. Thousands of people, including senior party officials, military leaders, and ordinary citizens, were accused of being enemies of the people. They were arrested, sent to labor camps, or executed. The Great Purge was part of Stalin's efforts to consolidate his power and eliminate any potential threats to his rule. Stalin's policies had profound and often devastating impacts on the Soviet Union and its people. Under his leadership, the Soviet Union was transformed into a global superpower, but at an enormous human cost. His policies led to widespread famine, suffering, and death, and his use of political repression created a climate of fear and paranoia. Yet, despite these atrocities, Stalin remained in power until his death in 1953, a testament to his ability to maintain control and suppress dissent. Stalin's leadership during World War II was a defining period in his rule and in global history. As the world was engulfed in the flames of conflict, Stalin's Soviet Union played a pivotal role in the defeat of Nazi Germany. At the heart of this conflict lay the brutal Battle of Stalingrad. This was not merely a military confrontation, but a battle of wills, a testament to the resilience of the Soviet people under Stalin's iron-fisted rule. The city's defense was fiercely led by the Red Army, and the victory marked a turning point in the war. Stalin also had a significant presence on the diplomatic front. At the Tehran Conference, he stood shoulder to shoulder with Churchill and Roosevelt, shaping the post-war world. Yet beneath these strategic victories lay a trail of devastating losses, highlighting the harsh realities of war. Stalin's wartime leadership was marked by both strategic victories and devastating losses. Stalin's legacy is complex, marked by both industrial progress and human tragedy. His rule transformed the Soviet Union from a predominantly agrarian society into a major world industrial power. The 5-year plans and collectivization policies, despite their severe human cost, did catapult the nation into an era of industrialization. Stalin's leadership during World War II also played a pivotal role in the defeat of Nazi Germany, marking a significant turning point in global history. Yet the human cost of Stalin's policies was enormous. The Great Purge, forced collectivization, and widespread famine led to the deaths of millions. His regime was characterized by political repression, censorship, and widespread surveillance. Interpretations of Stalin's rule among historians vary widely. Some view him as a ruthless dictator, while others see him as a necessary evil who modernized Russia. Stalin's legacy continues to spark debate among historians, reflecting the complexities of his life and rule. Joseph Stalin's life and rule were marked by contradiction, progress and repression, victory and loss. As we traverse the corridors of history, we find a man whose actions still echo in the annals of time, a man who shaped the course of the 20th century. Stalin's life, filled with complexities, is a testament to the power of an individual and the impact they can have on a nation and the world. His story is a stark reminder that history is not just about dates and events, but also about people, their beliefs, their actions, and their consequences. It's a tapestry woven with threads of human experience and the choices made in the pursuit of power and ideology. So let's not stop here. Dive deeper, ask questions, read books, explore more resources. History is a treasure trove of knowledge waiting to be unearthed. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Joseph Stalin's life. Remember, understanding history is key to understanding our world today.